Tony Vanek, and we are on the road in Reno, Nevada at the Eldorado Casino and Resort at the Reno K911 event. It's an annual training event for working dogs for military, homeland security, law enforcement, and this year it was a bomb detection event. It was pretty phenomenal. This is the first time I got to see something like this. Having a working dog myself, it was pretty amazing. So I have the privilege and the honor to be sitting here with Dave. Please tell me your last name again.
It's Dourson.
Dourson. Dave Dourson. This is kind of raw. So I'm here with Dave Dourson from Kinetic Performance Dog Food. And when I first met Dave, we talked briefly about just nutrition, animal nutrition, and I actually had a German Shepherd who passed away of a rare cancer because I was feeding him poison and I didn't know it. And found out years later that there was a massive lawsuit with a particular brand, and that's what caused the demise of my precious Kodo, my German Shepherd. So I'm here with Dave. Him and his partner have done some amazing work with animal nutrition, specifically for working breed dogs. And I'm going to let Dave just kind of free flow a little bit. Just tell us what you're doing. Tell us what you're passionate about, the reason for jumping into this crazy world of animal food and animal nutrition, and just let us know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I appreciate you taking the time, and it's great meeting you. We had a great conversation the other night, and really talked about it. And the passion was, my business partner and I met working for a big pet food company, and we saw, unfortunately, some of the decision processes that go into ingredient selection and profiles. And we're both in the sporting dog world and active with upland bird dog primarily. And we were feeding our dogs some of this food that you talk about out there, and they weren't performing well. And so we ended up leaving the company for different reasons and got together a few months later, started talking about, boy, if anybody ever really created a product and really made it about the canine, about the dog, they could probably carve out a nice little niche. And so, full disclosure, there was some beer involved in it. So,
that's fine.
we were like, oh, this is going to be a brilliant.
Ideas happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, anyway, that was about 11 years ago. It was in 2011 when we formally incorporated, and we spent about 2 years doing closed kennel testing on the formulas. And then once we locked it in, or once we found the formula that really worked for sport dogs, and we tested primarily on short hairs because it's a really finicky breed. We knew that if we could feed a short hair, you could move up and down the profile scale as far as different breeds. And so we locked it in, and really coming out of the gate, the initial thought was, boy, if we could carve out a nice little niche to take us into retirement and keep us in shotgun shells and beer, it'd be a success. And so that was about 11 years ago, and it's really just been a great ride. And one of the things that we've noticed, and probably people that yourself included, that have companion pet, and there's people having problems with dogs itching like crazy, and they're blowing coat, or they're shedding, or they get hot spots, and you go to the vet, and the veterinarians are, well, we're not sure, maybe it's an allergy to this, we got to test for it, or let's put them on this, this supplement, or let's put them on this medicine to see if we can stop the itching. And the reality is most of those are caused by something that's in the food. And so when you look at the food profiles with a lot of these companies out there, these are big corporations, and they do a lot of marketing and really trying to find out what's going on. And with the humanization of pets in the United States, these guys are like, hey, let's kale is really good. Let's put kale or seaweed or blueberries. Yeah, gluten-free. And we hear all of it. And the challenge is when you take a dog, like we're out here in Reno, and what's really incredible is when you see the amount of people that we're dealing with, if my dog runs out of energy, it's a hunting dog. We bring him in and out of the field, we hydrate him, we'll kennel the dog, we put our guns away, and truth be told, we drink some beer. Yeah, have a couple beers. But these guys that are out here don't have that luxury. If their dog runs out of energy, somebody could die. You know, and so that's when it changed with John and I. When we first started, it was, we were going to carve out a nice little niche in the sport dog world. It was going to be primarily in the Midwest. And we've done that. We've got a pretty solid following with a lot of guys that are running dogs, sport dogs. But when we started working with our law enforcement teams, known as LEO teams, we started working with Department of Defense and a number of our soft teams. That's when it changed, because the reality is the performance of that dog and its ability to recover after a lot of stress and be able to go the next day was paramount. And so when you think about some of the events that you've seen out here, these dogs have all traveled in. We're at a higher altitude than many of them are used to working in. There's that stress factor. Their water source is different, and people don't think about that, right?
Smoke from the fires.
Oh my gosh.
It's been crazy here.
Yeah, it has been. That's why I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm outside wearing a mask just because of the smoke.
Yeah. And so that's a challenge. So these dogs are under a tremendous amount of stress, and you need a product that is going to support their immune system, support the recovery, and that is really formulated. And there's good foods out there. So don't, this isn't an attack on, companion pet foods across the board. If you got a dog that's sitting at home and, he's kind of hanging out on the couch and maybe chewing your drape up, that type of thing. Yeah, and that's okay. But if you got a dog that maybe you're running with, and where this has taken us has been amazing. And we, from a couple of guys that just had this passion to start this to where it is today, and we're doing things with our U.S. Border Patrol teams and TSA and Homeland Security, and I mean, you just name it. If there's a 3-letter agency, we're probably working with them, and so we go around, and you sat in on a class today, so we're nutritional instructors, so we work with these guys and really try to teach them how to read a label, and so there's formulations that we have that are great for companion pet, and we have people call us all the time because, let's face it, these are, for you and I that aren't working these dogs, where we're not sitting there going, boy, we got to find a bomb, or we got to find drugs, or we got to clear a building. That's a whole different set of stress for everybody, and that dog can feel that stress down the lead. So, there were some scenarios set up today that, were pretty sobering, and a lot of the handlers were doing these areas and doing some of these searches, and you could tell they had never really thought about that. So they've never been exposed to it. I mean, how many people that are bomb dog people are finding bombs? So to stay focused and energized to go out there day after day and work like that. So,
yeah, and most of the time you don't hear about it when they do.
Right.
So so it's like they're not even getting credit for the work that they're doing. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he said that they actually detected a box of ammunition wrapped in clothing on top of other stuff stuffed in the bottom of a backpack, and his dog, as the person was walking through the airport, his dog alerted to the gunpowder, and he notified the agents, and they got the guy and apprehended him, and they got the credit. And it was like, he's like, it was my dog. Like, my dog alerted. He would have just walked right through, and nobody would have been any of the wiser. So yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I've got nothing but the utmost respect for what you guys do. This is phenomenal. This has been a long time coming. I'm glad that I can see the passion in your eyes, and I can hear it in your voice. And I got to meet your beautiful wife, Debbie, and she seems to be the reason in the in the relationship.
Yeah, I'd like to say that she married me because of the dog food company, but I'm not really sure why she did, but I'm blessed that she said yes.
It's always nice when you marry up, right?
Well, yeah, I'm way out of my league here. Right. So, but no, it's been great, Tony. It's been great getting to meet you, and like I said, working with these folks is just really it just brings another dimension to what we're doing in the passion. And you're right. I mean, ultimately, it's about the dog. It's about the performance of the dog. And so one of the things that we were able to do was we actually every single ingredient that we put in the food was put there for the dog. And I say that, and people go, well, yeah, but probably everybody does that. And the reality is some of it's for ROI, return on investment, and profitability. And so when we looked at it, we said, hey, if we're going to put it in there, it's got to benefit the dog. And so it's been a phenomenal run, and we're just blessed to be able to come out here, meet folks like yourself, do a little bit of training. It's been a lot of fun, and so we're really excited about it.
Very cool, very cool. So before we wrap up, you have a show called Unleashed, and why don't you give it a little plug? Let us know what it is and where to find it and when it comes on and what it's about, and then we'll get your website and direct people on how to find you and get a hold of you, and hopefully they can get some questions answered.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I a lot of times forget about the show. And what happened was we had a real good friend of ours that was following us on social media, and he called me up and he said, "You're driving me crazy. There's a show in what you're doing." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he actually had an outdoor hunting show for 14 years on the Sportsman Channel. So he knew what he was talking about as far as producing a show, but he kept saying, 1 week you're working with mushing and sled dogs, and the next week you're at Border Patrol, and then you're on a ship somewhere, working down in San Diego, and then you're at a hunt trial or whatever, a field trial. And he said, it would be great to put this together. And so we actually, he did a demo reel. We sent it out to six networks, and all six came back and said, oh my God, this is really a cool concept. The show is really focused on the relationship between the handler and the dog, and the amount of hours that go in, thousands of hours for some of these top flight hunting dogs. And these people aren't getting paid to do it. They're going out there and they're training these dogs 3, 4, 5 hours a day, every day. And, and so what we wanted to do was share their stories, whether it was amateur. We've done work with some of the DoD teams. We did an episode last year on one of the Secret Service dogs. And so it's called Unleashed K9 TV. And you can Google that. We're on the Pursuit channel. And we're getting ready for season 2. We're looking for a couple more sponsors.
Okay, people, we got to help them out. We need sponsors here.
Yeah. But we're blessed to have guys like Black Rifle Coffee, Kong, Von Lick Kennels, which is a big military civilian military supply kennel, and those guys are fantastic. But Chinook Trailer and those RV, and so we're really blessed to have some great sponsors. They all came back. We blew all the numbers away, which was really fun, and so it's a great way for a small company to really introduce the public to really what's going on. So some of the stuff that we were doing some filming here, and so that's a lot of fun. So Unleash K9 TV. And we do have a web-based platform, but it's on the Pursuit channel. So season 2 starts in January. It airs 3 times a week. And then, Kinetic, if you Google kineticdogfood.com, it'll take you right to where we are. And but if you ever have any questions, and you and I talked about it, we're passionate about it. So if you've got a problem with your dog or the nutrition or just a question, you can reach out to us. It's Dave at kineticdogfood.com or John at kineticdogfood.com. So, yeah, love to hear from you.
Perfect. Well, Dave and John at kineticfood.com. This has been an amazing event. I've met so many incredible people. Like you were saying, the thousands of hours that go in to what these people do and what these animals do is just extraordinary. And they couldn't do it if they didn't have the drive and the passion to do it. These people are beyond exceptional. So my hat's off to all the folks here, to Tammy who ran the event, and we're going to call it a wrap. And thank you, Dave, for being kind enough to have this interview with me, and we'll be good to go. See you on the road.